Tonight our special guest is Mick Webb. The year 2016 has been a great year for Mick. He has just celebrated 30 years in New Zealand as founder and owner of New Zealand's largest musical retail chain, The Rock Shop. 30 years and 30 shops, a remarkable achievement. Mick Webb, welcome to The Beat Goes On.
Very nice to be here, Jared. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh,
Thank
look,
you.
The reason you're here, Mick, is something wonderful has happened, of course, the 30th anniversary of rock shops in New Zealand. And we're not talking about rocks that you find on the beach or anything like that.
We're
talking
not
about musical instruments.
We are. Well, some people call me rock and roll gear, yeah, in the main.
And look, it's taken you 30 years to starting from one small shop to own and operate 30 throughout
New Zealand.
Yeah.
I was doing this before in the UK.
Yeah.
So we came out in '86. And started bought a small shop in K Road, which we're still in
yes,
at the moment.
You are,
one
actually,
of them. Bought that. Yes, I say about October 1986, and then went from there. Really, yeah.
Wow. Now you're a baby boomer.
I'm indeed. I'm very proud of it. I think we're very, very lucky to be baby boomers. So
yeah, great generation, wasn't it?
Well, we were a very lucky generation. I think that post-war. Everything. I think George Harrison said it best that before the Beatles, everything was black and white, and after the Beatles, everything was colour. And certainly that was it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what was the wonderful day, and where was it when Mick Webb joined us on the earth?
It was April 15th, 1950.
Oh, you're an Aries.
I am indeed. Yeah.
In 1950. 1950. You're a classic baby boom, aren't you?
Absolutely.
This is the classic.
Absolutely.
So what did Mum and Dad do in England?
My dad was a carpenter,
yeah.
And my mum was a housewife for quite some time, and but it's also called a what was it? I can't even say it, but I cut that bit. She worked at the racetrack, working out these machines that
comptometer or something.
Yes,
like that.
I
don't know. It sounds like a good word.
It's a long word anyway, far too intelligent.
Machines before, the TAB, they got these flash computers.
Yeah, but
they
had lots of buttons and lots of levers and things, and she was doing that. My father was working away most of the time, so he only came home weekends, and most of that spent down the pub. So I didn't see much of my dad, to be honest. Mum was at work a lot of the time, and so.
And this is just after the war, wasn't it?
Well, 5 years after the war, yeah. 4 finished in 45. But my elder sister was born during the war, and running down the Anderson shelters in East London, which is where we were.
And there'd be bomb sites still.
Oh, very much
everywhere.
so. Yeah, very much so. During those days, well, Small Faces, Ichiku Park was a bomb site. It was where the kids used to play with the stinging nettles coming through the concrete on the ground, and they were the Ichikus. They stung you.
This is I never knew this. Is that what Ichiku Park was all about? So all us baby boomers, of course, know that wonderful song Ichiku Park.
It's fantastic. Well,
the stinging plants were growing up through the rubble.
Yeah, stinging nettles, they were
stinging
called.
nettles.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, they called it Ichiku Park.
Well, because when they got you, it was you come up little bumps, and you just scratch them. Yeah. And you had a dock leaf, which is a large leaf, would always be growing nearby, and that's what you put on it to stop the itching. And that's This is world-shattering news. Good on you, Mick. So you grew up in England, and of course you went right through that fabulous boom that we all went, the Beatles, and you were in London, of course. And what's your first memory of the Beatles hitting the scene? Thank you, Lucky Stars, October 1962. You
were watching TV.
Watching TV, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Okay.
Did that for a little bit, but I'm not talented enough, for playing guitar and singing.
Did you learn? Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you did that.
Still playing a band now.
Oh, you're still playing a band now. Yes. Sorry. So then the world exploded with the wonderful music. The Rolling Stones, of course, came in, and that was the London area. So Where was your favourite place to be in London and when all this was happening?
Well, of course, when I was 12, I didn't have much of a choice, but a bit later on, when I became a teenager, sort of 14, 1964, I'd be going up to Carnaby Street, Kings Road, those sort of areas, Notting Hill. After there was a programme called Ready Steady Go on a Friday night, 5 to 6 every Friday night, and every red-blooded kid had to be home watching Ready Steady Go, which is where programme that broke a lot of bands, particularly overseas bands.
And we had Come On here in New Zealand.
You had Come On, that's right.
Exactly. So yours was Ready Steady Go, but then you grew up, of course, and you grew up to the age where you got into business. Now you started a rock shop in England. Is that true?
Yes, it is. It came about. I was in bands. I was managing bands, ran clubs, rock clubs. And one of the bands I was managing had a member in it that was a silk screen printer. And we wanted some T-shirts made. We thought, good idea to get some T-shirts. So we decided to print our own T-shirts. And when we were playing around the various pubs and bars, other bands would be there. So, where'd you get your T-shirts from? Oh, have I got a deal for you? So we'd be making T-shirts for other people. And to cut a long story short, we were printing for Richard Branson, we were printing for Paul McCartney, we were printing for Top of the Pops. We sold that business. And my partner at that time was in a band called Freedom. The drummer of Procol Harum had a band called Freedom he was playing in. And he hung out with a guy called Cliff Cooper, who ran a couple of shops in London called Orange. And he used to bring in guitars from overseas, vintage ones. And anyway, this guy, my partner, wanted a guitar shop. So with the money we sold, the T-shirt printing, we opened our first shop in Walthamstow in East London called Holiday Music. And I was with that, with them. We were together for about a year, 2 years, and I decided to go on my own and moved down to Cambridge in England and opened a shop there called the Cambridge Rock Shop. Then we opened another one in Cambridge, also called the Cambridge Rock Shop. Then opened another one in Germany, in Essen.
And you couldn't call it the Cambridge Rock Shop,
We called it the Cambridge Rock Shop.
Oh, you did?
The locals said, Cambridge Rock? What is that? But it was everything in those days. If it was English, it went off.
Yeah, because of the...
So we just carried on calling it that. And we were there for 6 years. Sold that in 1981. In the meantime, walked into AKG Microphones in London to buy some microphones for Jethro Tull, who we were looking after at the time. And I walked in, and the receptionist there just blew me away. It was like, wow, this... And to cut a very long story short, we ended up getting married. She was a Kiwi. And that's how I came out to New Zealand. Yeah.
So I'm dying to know the story when you finally shortened it to the Rock Shop. When did
well, first came out in '79 to visit, and then again in '82, I think it was. Still had my businesses in the UK, but Muldoon was in at that time, and I had the rights to manufacture a couple of amplifiers, one called High Watt and one called HH, both English amplifiers of the day. They were the High Watt still going, but had the rights to manufacture those products here in New Zealand. CER had just come in, and I had the rights to manufacture here and supply Australia and the Pacific Islands, but Muldoon wouldn't let me.
That Muldoon, eh? How many dreams did he kill?
Well, it's just it was about a 50% content issue that he had, and anything that was made here you had to use. Philips were making loudspeakers for radios and transformers, and the government, not Muldoon himself, of course, Department of Trade and Industry said no. If it's made here, you've got to use it. High Watt and HH said, of course, no. Having said that, Fender actually made some amplifiers here under license using those components. Fender Twin Reverb. They were awful, but they are now collector's items because they're so bad. But yeah, so anyway, I gave up with that and went back to England and said, when Muldoon's gone, we'll go back. And he did, and we came back in '86 under the Longy Douglas regime. And for me, it was a breath of fresh air, as it was for a lot of people. And our industry really took off. This industry really took off. Before '84, it was very, very difficult to buy musical instruments or amplifiers.
I went through it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're in New Zealand, you're ready to go, and you get the first shop, Karanga Happy Road, was it?
Yes.
So you leased that shop, and that's, when did you put the rock shop up on the, was that when it happened?
Well, first day we took over the lease, basically.
Now, did you say to yourself, what am I going to call it? Something different for New Zealand, or should we continue on?
No, we continue on the name that was very successful for me in the UK and in Germany.
But you didn't want the Cambridge part this time?
Not the Cambridge part, no. We still are not in Cambridge, New Zealand. We're just outside in Hamilton, but not Cambridge.
So you said, I'll just make the rock shop.
Just a rock shop, yeah.
Well, look, you've gone on to be the top musical distributor in New Zealand, haven't you? It's, I mean, wow. So one shop started, then where was the second shop?
Christchurch.
Christchurch. So what year was it when you opened the first Karanga? 30 years ago, wasn't it?
1986, October 1986.
No, October 1986. How has it changed? Who's buying today? I'm sure you do lots of research to find out who's buying.
Well, it's still young people in the main, young males in the main. Having said that, our generation are still buying.
Are we still buying?
Absolutely, absolutely. Our generation, as we said before, very, very fortunate generation. And of course, we've got a few spare bob to spend, or a few of us have. And our aspirations when we were a kid if you were a guitarist, you always wanted a Fender Stratocaster or a Les Paul or
Tell me about
something.
it. Tell me about it.
But couldn't afford it. Well, went out the music industry, got married, got a mortgage, had kids, come out the other end now, retired, got a little bit of money perhaps, and they buy what they've always coveted. And so we got a lot of that sort of business. But in the main, it's people coming in, young people coming into the industry, wanting to create music, and it's across the board now. It used to be back in the old days just guitars and drums basically, but now it's right across. In fact, I mean we've taken over another chain of stores called KBB Music, and we're doing orchestral, educational music, musical instruments.
So with your 27 rock shops and
KBB Music.
KBB. Yeah. Well, you must be. How many did they have? How many shops did they have?
Well, they only had one when we took them over. We now have 3 of those.
So you're nearly 30 years in the business and 30 stores.
One a year.
Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah.
Just to look, I remember as a young lad, 1964, 60, we couldn't buy a guitar anywhere. We just couldn't. And in the end, our father went across to the garage and with a lathe made our first guitars.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it's completely changed for a young person today, isn't it?
Well, yes, it has. Although, of course, Brian May made his own guitar out of the fireplace.
And you know, Dad did a wonderful job, and yet they were never good enough because we always wanted store-bought guitars.
Yes.
You see, so Dad's gone now, but I always say, did we thank Dad enough for that wonderful job he did making 3? He made the 3 bass and 2 guitars in the band. So, but look, Mick, would you say that it was a great move to come to New Zealand? I want to hear your experiences.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, apart from marrying my beautiful wife, of course. It's. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And now you've got the money to go back and live in England, and yet you don't, do you?
Oh,
you wouldn't.
Why would you want to go and live in England?
Well, why wouldn't you go? Why would you not live in England? We don't know, you see, because we're not sure exactly what you're not missing.
The greyness of not just the weather, I find, and I find the greatness of the people. But when you're living in it, you don't notice it.
No, you don't.
You're part of it, and you really don't know about it. It's when you leave and you come back after a period of time and look from an outsider's point of view that you see the. For me, and I know a lot of people love England, and whenever I say this, I make a lot of enemies. But for me, it's just drudgery. You have to be, from my belief, you've got to be extremely wealthy to
really enjoy England.
To enjoy England, I believe. I think I loved my time there as a teenager. I wouldn't have been anywhere else. Because of the music scene, because of the exploding art scene.
Best place in the world to be at that time, wasn't it?
At that time, probably. I don't know. That was the only place I was, so I don't really know. But,
no,
it
would have been great, because we yearned to be in England, you know, when the Beatles were doing their thing.
Yeah, and I fully understand that, and it was very special. There's no doubt about that. And the music scene has continued to be wonderful in England. You know, the different each generation and each decade has come out with a new sound, new band. You know, we went from the Beatles sound, the beat group sound, to the glam rock thing happening, and then punk and heavy rock, through the 80s of the Smiths and the 90s of Radiohead, Oasis, through to now. I mean, it's a great place to create.
Now, musicians are not renowned for being good businessmen. You must have been a musician as well as being a good... What do you think your secret was?
I don't know.
Because they aren't renowned, are they?
No,
you know, they're either smoking pot or away with their fairies, you know what I mean?
In general, that's true. I don't know. I think I was very fortunate in as much that I knew what I wanted very early on in life. Having seen the Beatles, I knew, and I was 12 years old, and I knew that
what you wanted.
I'm going to be in that industry. But and when I left school at 14, I knew again I was going to be in business one day. I didn't have a clue how it worked, but I just knew that's what I was going to do. So I went. My first job in the City of London was the assistant to the company secretary, who the company secretary in those days was the bookkeeper, the accountant. So I learnt bookkeeping and accounts.
So that's the secret. Yeah.
Well, it was
one of the secrets.
Yeah.
Now look, I like that. I love that T-shirt you're wearing.
Would you like one?
Yes, I'd like. I know our viewers would love one. Could we give some of those T-shirts away?
Certainly, of course you can.
I'd
love to.
Well, let's say we. We've got 4. You got 4 left.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
There you go.
To celebrate the anniversary.
Yeah.
Rockin' New Zealand since 1986. So what we need is a very highly intelligent question, and I got just the question: where was Mick's very first rock shop? Give them a clue. Karanga Happy Road, shall we?
Well, let's call it K Road.
K Road. Let's call it K Road. So email Jared at The Beat Goes On. And in the subject line, put K Road, and we'll pick 4 people, and Mick, you can send them out a T-shirt each. Wouldn't that be great?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Love to.
Good on you. Now, Mick, of course, you had a big celebration. October, was it? October 19?
Well, it was actually in November because...
no, but you opened the first shop.
We opened the first shop in October.
And then in November of this year, you had the big 30th anniversary. Tell us, what did you do?
Well, we invited a number of our AAA dealers from... suppliers, manufacturers from all over the world. Yes, they came down from England. Marshall were here.
Wow.
Gibson were here.
Yeah.
The representatives of Fender were here. The Roland, Pearl, Meinl. There were a whole bunch of.
They all flew down to be here.
They all flew down to be here. So we get on extremely well with the people. It's a wonderful industry to be in. It really is a wonderful industry. Anyway, they came down and we went up to our club, Backbeat on K Road, which
great club
for the first night, and we had an open mic night, and everyone joined in and had good fun then. And then on the Friday nights, we were across the road at the Tuning Fork. And we were over there, and all of our staff and friends were invited. About 300 of us over there.
Now I want you to tell me how proud you were.
No, of course, of course, very proud. Not for what I've achieved, but what the people around me have achieved. This industry. Well, life is about having good people around you. Solid people. I've got a great team of directors.
Now, I was going to say that you can only look after one store, or only, but there's 30 stores, so you must have a great team behind you.
We have a wonderful team. We have 4 other directors. We have general managers. We have product managers, accountants. A full team. And I know it's a cliche, but it's a family. It really is a family. We get together and we have fun, and that's what business should be about, having fun. You have fun. Yeah,
I have fun. and the guy after you has fun too, young Shane.
Young Shane. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's about. So Jordan Luck played at the 30th on stage. That was fantastic. He did a wonderful set.
Isn't he a great musician?
Singer, a great performer. Fantastic performer. He really kept the crowd going.
Did you give him a free guitar for playing that night, or?
He got a bit more than that. And then on the Sunday, we very lucky we went across to Waiheke to Cable Bay and had a dinner, hired out the whole place over there, and had a dinner over there for everyone. So it was very, very, very rewarding, very nice.
Oh, wow. No, going back to that pride bit, I salute you, Mick. That's a wonderful achievement. 30 stores throughout New Zealand.
Very kind,
and it started off with just that one store. And I'll say, what a great name, The Rock Shop. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it?
It does. It has been a very good name for us. It's been great.
You couldn't think of a better name. I think it's great. Well, we better get rocking on.
Okay.
We've got to keep the show going.
Yep.
But Mick,
lovely.
Look, wonderful to see you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. 30 years in the business. Wonderful.
Thank you.